Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Uh, every year we see all those ridiculous memes, and full disclosure, I posted one of them this morning on Instagram. But everybody talks about, hey, it's Thanksgiving. Make sure you drink your turkey. But today I want to give you a list of 8 unique whiskeys that maybe you could drink on Thanksgiving. Hit that intro. So this year, right, I'm going to ask you guys to set aside the wild turkey. I know it's tough to do. I love it too. Okay. But let's maybe try and expand our horizons a little bit, expand our palates, and talk about a few things that are maybe a little bit different. Maybe something you can share with some family members, or just a different experience than what you would have every turkey day. I personally am in the camp of let's get rid of turkey altogether on Thanksgiving and make brisket instead. Still waiting for that to get some traction, but I'm hopeful. Okay, so I've got 8 bottles here. The first one I want to talk about is Motor City Gas. And this is a distillery out of Ferndale, Michigan. And this one specifically, this is their Tailspin whiskey. It's 44%, so 88 proof. And it is a sorghum whiskey. Single barrel, 5 years old, but it's made of sorghum. Kind of unique. I guess whiskey, it was a lot more popular at one point, years and years and decades ago, to make whiskey from sorghum. But Motor City Gas is a true grain to glass distillery. They don't have any distribution, or I misspoke. They do have distribution now. It's very, very limited, but outside of their tasting room, it's very limited distribution. But they grow all the grains on their farm here in Michigan. They take all the grains, everything. It comes down to their distillery in Royal Oak or Ferndale, whichever city it's in. The two cities are very close together. I want to say it's Royal Oak. But they do all the distilling, all the fermenting in-house. I've seen all the equipment. They have a beautiful Vendome brass copper still there, or copper still there, not brass colored. And it's just an awesome little setup. They've got their own barrel room. I think they have 2 barrel rooms, actually. So it's definitely a growing operation, but some of their products are going to be 5, 6, 7 years old, and they have not compromised on quality. A lot of unique whiskeys, a lot of American single malts. So yeah, a sorghum whiskey from Motor City Gas. Maybe something worth busting out at Thanksgiving dinner, just to something a little bit different. Next up, this one is actually out of Ohio, and this is the Middle West Spirits Ported Pumpernickel Rye Whiskey. So I've never seen another rye whiskey made with pumpernickel rye grain, but this one is from their double cask collection, 99.5 proof, and it's actually finished in French tawny port casks. This is an absolutely delicious, delicious rye. It is not available here in Michigan. It's only available in Ohio, and even then it's difficult to find. But it's 5 years old, and it's absolutely delicious. I don't know what the difference is in terms of how the rye grain it ferments, or what kind of reactions you get differently. But I mean, look at the color on that. It's super dark for 5 years old. It is absolutely fantastic. Can't say enough good things. Middle West is doing a lot of really unique whiskeys right now, and everything coming out of there has been really good. I've not had a single bad Middle West product, and I have their entire double cask collection with the exception of the Napoleon finish. And if you guys are listening, I would love a media bottle of that if you could send that my way. I know we've talked briefly on the gram, but yeah, Middle West Ported Pumpernickel Rye Whiskey. ADHD Whiskey also recommended this as being an exceptionally delicious pour, and I feel like it would pair very well with Thanksgiving stuffing. Our next bottle, this is a popcorn bourbon from Red Cedar Spirits. Red Cedar used to partner with Michigan State University years ago, but this is a Lansing distillery, and this particular bottle was only released in, what are these, 375s? Yeah, 375 milliliters. This is a 10-year-old bourbon, and it's made from popcorn that they distilled into bourbon because it still technically meets the bourbon mash bill requirements. This one is very unique. The only knock I have against this one is it was only released at 40%. I think it's something like 90, 95, 100 proof. This would be much, much better. But I've only ever seen maybe one other popcorn bourbon. I don't think it's a really widely done thing. I'm sure it presents certain challenges, but I think it's really cool. It's really unique. It's something to talk about for sure. Yeah, so if you guys are ever in East Lansing, visit Red Cedar, see what they got going on. I've gotten into this one. I don't remember if it was any good or not, honestly, because it's been a minute. but I'll have to give that a go again soon. Another one from Red Cedar, and this one I know is fantastic. This is the Red Cedar Spirits Oatlander. So the secondary cereal grain in this mash bill is oats. And this is awesome. This is a single barrel pick from Brotherhood of the Barrel. I went into Wine Garden, this is probably 2-3 years ago, and Big Tony, if you guys have ever been to the Wine Garden, you know Big Tony. He is the guy. Incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly nice gentleman. He's always been able to help me get bottles I'm looking for. But I asked about this because I had never heard of an oat whiskey before, or a bourbon that had a secondary grain being oats. And he said that will be one of the most unique, most delicious whiskeys you've ever had, or my name isn't Big Tony. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a pretty powerful indictment. So I bought this, and I actually ended up going back at a second one. This is my second bottle of this, and we're already starting to get into it, but it's 5 years old, 127.4 proof, so fairly high proof, great color, 5 years, 7 months. I mean, the single barrel statistics on the side here are super transparent. This is an amazing, amazing bourbon, and I absolutely love these. They do make it at an 80 proof offering, but this stuff really shines at cask strength, guys. If you ever see a single barrel pick from Red Cedar, just grab it. The cask strength stuff is phenomenal. The 80 proof stuff is okay. It's okay. But it is really something special when you get the cask strength offerings. It's just unfortunate that they don't come around as often. So yeah, Oatlander. If you guys get the chance to try that, definitely do it. Next up, this one's a little bit more widely known. This is the Penelope Tokai cask finish. So this is a straight rye whiskey finished in Tokai wine casks. I don't know a ton about Tokai wine. I'm fairly certain it's Japanese, but this is the only Tokai finish I'm aware of that is on the market. There might be some obscure craft distilleries doing it, or maybe something that I've missed, but this is an exceptional bottle. We popped the top on this during the NFL draft this year, and I haven't gone back to it since because I want to preserve this. It is an 8-year-old, 106 proof rye whiskey from Penelope, so I believe that means it's sourced from MGP, but it is finished in Tokai wine barrels, and it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. It's fantastic. Lots of red fruit notes, but it doesn't overpower the rye spiciness. Gives you all those depths of flavors, all that spiciness that you're kind of looking for in a rye, but then it blends it really, really well with these red notes, these stone fruit notes that are just really, really nice. And I love this bottle. If I see another one, I will definitely be grabbing it. But this is something I would pull out, maybe before dinner. I'm sure it would probably pair very well with like a nice homemade cranberry sauce or even a dessert. This is something that I would definitely go to. We got 3 more. So this one is, we got Corsair Quinoa whiskey. So Corsair is a distillery out of Nashville, Tennessee, and this is an American single malt whiskey, 92 proof, but it is made from quinoa and malted barley, and they actually use a pot still. This tastes almost like an Almond Joy, maybe not Almond Joy, but it tastes like a nutty, chocolatey candy bar. It's shockingly good for what it is. Which that phrasing it like that is probably not the most flattering way to say it, but this is really, really good. And I've always passed by Corsair products on the shelf because it was maybe not the popular thing, or maybe I didn't know much about it. And I decided to roll the dice on this. And what it says about quinoa, or quinoa whiskey, is big, nutty flavor, which tracks. This is like a chocolate covered Almond Joy. Quinoa is a South American grain crop grown for its seeds. It adds an earthy and nutty flavor to whiskey. The seeds come in red, white, and black varieties, very similar to corn. The whiskey uses red and white quinoa grains, can often be easily malted. Yeah, guys, give this a try. For like $50, give this a try. If you're looking for something different, you're looking for something new, this is exceptional. If nothing else, it's a conversation piece. If your family is into whiskey or your family is into liquors, this is something worth talking about. It's really, really good. It's readily available, and it's a cheaper, affordable, unique whiskey that's available on most shelves today. Definitely give Corsair Quinoa a shot. Next up, and I just got this. I don't even think this has hit the markets yet. Maybe a couple more days before it comes out. And this is the Detroit City Distillery Two-Faced Bourbon. So what this is something that has never been done before, to my knowledge. It is a Michigan bourbon, specifically a Detroit bourbon from Detroit City Distillery, and it is blended with Kentucky wheated bourbon. 50% of each, so it's equal parts. Both parts are at least 4 years old. It says so on the back, aged 4 years or more, which leads me to believe that one of these is probably a little bit older than that. But this is a batch one. This is 100 proof. This was very generously given to me by Dante from Detroit City Distillery for purposes of review. I got into a little bit, but I'm kind of giving it a week, maybe a little more time to open up. But so far, it's got a fairly unique flavor profile to it. I don't want to get too much into it and spoil the review, but it's something that's not being done. Sourcing from 2 different states like that is not something that's done a ton right now, but the transparency is there. I like it. This is definitely something to look out for. Obviously, you can't drink it at Thanksgiving because it's not on the shelves yet, but be on the lookout for this one from Detroit City Distillery. And the last one is one of my very favorites, and you guys have heard me talk about this brand on the channel multiple times, okay? And if you're paying attention, it is this whole back row here, the very top, and that is American Fifth Distillery out of Lansing proper. This is their Spartan Malt whiskey. So I at first made the mistake of thinking that the Spartan Malt was named after MSU because it's such close proximity to the distillery. I was incorrect. The Spartan Malt is a specific strain of malted barley, Spartan barley. What I didn't know about this until significantly later after doing some reading was that this specific strain of barley was actually created at MSU for purposes of growth in the early 1900s. It was supposed to be a hardier, stronger barley that would adjust well to Michigan climates, et cetera, et cetera. And then it never really got any traction. It kind of fell off for like 110 years. And then the people at American Fifth got a hold of it and used it to make a American single malt whiskey with Spartan malted barley. And I think it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. It's got notes of sweet, malty, toffee, some oak. These are only about 18 months old, so they're a little bit on the younger side, but they are aged in smaller barrels. I know, that's the big bugaboo, right? Yeah, 15-gallon barrels or 30-gallon barrels. Oh, they're horrible. No, actually, guys, they're pretty good. When you get a younger age statement at a lower proof, the oak isn't overpowering, okay? I wholeheartedly endorse everything that's coming out of American Fifth right now. We stop by there every time we're in town. But especially if you're an MSU fan, this is a bottle to look out for. I think they're exceptional. It is distillery only at this time, unfortunately, but it's a really cool backstory, really cool talking point. It's all grain to glass. It's not, sourced from out of state or anything. It's all grown within, I want to say 60, 80 miles of Lansing, not East Lansing, within 60 to 80 miles of Lansing. And then it's all brought into the distillery. They do all their own distillation and fermentation and barreling. They do it all in-house, which is impressive given the size of their setup. But it's a great spot. This is an absolutely great American single malt. I highly recommend. So that's it, guys. That's what I have. That is 8 alternative, unique whiskeys. Maybe you can push aside the Wild Turkey this Thanksgiving and give one of these a try. But otherwise, I hope everybody had a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. Please feel free to drop a like, subscribe, give me a comment. I love hearing from you guys, even the haters. I love the back and forth. And honestly, it all feeds the algorithm. So I enjoy any kind of interaction with my viewers, my listeners, whatever you guys call yourselves. But otherwise, we'll see you next time. Cheers.